Well, as we go back in time a few years, today, I'm hoping that the review that we're going to embark upon will be filled with honor because it's going to be the Generations Drift, finally. I had the guy for a long time, but I was missing so many parts, so I really thank Event Progenitor for helping me out here enough that now we can look at this guy in all of his glory in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, The Autobot Family, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe vs. DC Universe vs. Marvel, and you can find me everywhere across social media. All those links are in the description. If you're in a position to help the channel, you can always use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we offer to you through Teespring, always adding new stuff. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube, and this is Generations Drift. And I like this mold. I reviewed it a long time ago as Blurr, and we're going to reference that when we look at this guy closer. I knew that this guy had a good reputation, and you know what, honestly, since I've shown the conversion going from robot to vehicle, this time around I'm going to start the guy out in vehicle, which I think is actually the way he came in package, and we're going to do the conversion back the other way. There is a ton here to like. I'm also going to compare it to the Age of Extinction Drift, just so we can see Drift next to Drift. This is one of those characters that is like has a cult following, and he has sort of like, you know, built a reputation and is like now part of the kind of G1 pantheon, but he wasn't really G1. I mean, it's one of those characters that sort of gained a following as the years have passed, like Bulkhead or Windblade, although some people would say that the two of those are arguable. And now he's become, I would say, one of the most beloved characters in Transformers, even though he didn't appear on the beloved countdown. Enough of me gushing about this guy, because there's a lot here to like. How about we head over to the table and take a closer look at it all. And as promised, here we have Drift starting out in his vehicle mode, which is a mashup between a Nissan Silva S15 and a Mitsubishi F10, apparently. He comes with 3 accessories, which are 3 swords. 2 belong in sheaths that are in his door. The other right now is, well, it's down here underneath, but it really pegs in the exact same way as the blasters peg into Blurr. Who is the other use of this mold? The design on his door is actually the same design that is apparently on his sword. My sword will be covered because there's Toy Hack stickers on it, but apparently in the comic my understanding is that it's a katana that's on his door, and this is a kanji, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Basically it means peerless under heaven, or it means armed under providence, if you believe the wiki. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a Japanese symbol. The guy's a samurai. It fits with the motif. That's all I can really tell you. I like the interplay of the red and the white. Is this perfectly accurate? Well, again, this guy's called G1, but it's really from the IDW comics that he has kind of sprung to life, and I really don't know. My understanding is that the white isn't quite as brilliant white as it should be. The red should be a little bit more of a crimson and a few extra yellow details. I'm not connected to the character. I'm going to say it's a 9. I'll say it's a 9. I see it and I know that it's Drift. I know that much, so to me that's a win. He wasn't in the original cartoon or anything, and other versions that we've had of him have deviated greatly from this body type. I love the colored in wheels. I love that we have tail lights colored in. What a time it was to be a collector. And the white paint and the white plastic are a pretty close match. Back here is even colored. Like, this was done well. Now, I had the original well, not the original. I had the other version of this, Blurr, and I looked at Blurr in episode 74 a long time ago. And I kind of said then that while it wasn't perfect, it fit the bill for me until the Titans Return came. When the Titans Return came, I kind of ended up replacing my Blurr with the Titans Return. The Blurr that is this mold was inherited by one of the scraplets, and I said maybe one day I'll get the drift version because I do like the mold, and I happened to find it, but he was missing parts, so this is kind of a long time coming. He rolls like a champion even with his sword underneath. Now, since we already looked at the transformation going from robot to vehicle, and the reason I did that with Blurr was because at the time that mold was going to be re-released as part of like a Platinum Edition set, and it was going to start its life out in robot mode. This time around, we're going to go from vehicle to robot. Why not? It's an opportunity to show both conversions here on the channel. So I'll do all of his scores and whatnot after that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sword off. We'll look at that after as well. And I may end up making a couple of cuts as we go through here and this guy gets bigger, but to begin, we can kinda, hopefully, pick off that door and pick off that door just to loosen things up. And then we should be able to fold down his legs. Split them. And now we can deal with this lower section here, which kind of stumps a lot of people. All you're really doing with it is you're trying to take it forward. Now it is a bit hard, but you need to kind of fold the whole foot forward, and then you can angle it back. So you kind of take the entire foot and you fold the whole thing way forward, and then when it's all the way forward, that's when you angle it up, and now we should be able to stand the guy up. When it comes to those feet, people have complained about that hinge breaking, usually more on this one than on the Blurr one, because that hinge on this one is made of clear plastic. And admittedly, the tolerance there is tight. The real trick is making sure that the foot is bent all the way forward, whatever direction you're going in. Like even here now, if I wanted to go back, I'm bringing the hinge down, I'm bending the foot forward as far as I can possibly do it, and then that is what allows me to get it back past. It's still tight. I freely 100% agree. Bring it all the way forward, bring the foot down, and really collapse it up. A lot of people do not collapse it up either. Okay, we can close in the window piece here and bring that down on the side. Close in the window piece here and bring that down on the side. He has two smaller blades in there. We'll look at them later. We kind of come up here and we pick apart the hood section and we bring over that half of the hood and we collapse that half of the hood, and then we begin to extend the arm and rotate this to the back. Arm is down. Probably hear a truck in the background there. Extend the arm back and down. Now all we have left is the chest piece. In here, and I'm going to show this close, we have molded detail. You can see the molded detail there on the chest. Apparently this is a pre-earth mode. You'll also notice that we have a rectangular slot, and the chest piece that we're going to pick up over has a rectangular, translucent, or actually clear plastic, I should say, not even translucent, clear plastic peg that fits into that slot. And once you have the peg put into that slot on the chest, we have drift in all of his glory here. I like it. I like the look of the robot. I mean, I liked the look of the robot when it was Blurr a long time ago. So in terms of like Blurr here, I said that his paint apps were a 7 because it's definitely a stylized Blurr. I've said that they're a 9 here for drift because, you know, his body type, I guess his model has varied so much. For example, there's his Age of Extinction iteration, completely different. Much smaller as well. The Age of Extinction drift I looked at in episode 60, and I said his paint apps were about a 9. They certainly weren't perfect to the Age of Extinction movie, but I loved the metallic blue on his pads that are on his legs and his arms. So, but you can tell here like they're vastly different. If you were to look at, say, the RID drift, again, vastly different. Now, apparently, he also, and I haven't seen this, I can't pick it up myself, apparently his eyes have pupils. And if his eyes are lit up because of the light piping, apparently the pupils like follow you? I don't know. It's what I've read, it's what I've heard. I can't perceive it myself, I don't see it, but okay, I guess. He also is able to dual wield his sword here. As a matter of fact, I should probably show his accessories first. He comes with 2 of these daggers. The handle can bend on it for storage. He can hold it fine. They're made of kind of a soft material. He also comes with this giant sword. I may have to take the repro labels off of this because in transit it did buckle and it seems to have creased the labels, unfortunately. Nevertheless, this is apparently like the grand sword, the great sword, something like that. And it's so powerful that it draws on the spark energy of, you know, he or she who wields it, evidently. So like it's only to be used in the most desperate of times. All of this can go stored on him in robot mode. So case in point here, we have one of the daggers put in the door over here with the handle folded down. This one is put in the door with the handle left out. Why? Because if you leave the handle out, you have a space here where the window folds up and you can take his long sword and you can store it right there as well if you'd like to have both of them like on the side of the guy. Of course, we all know that we can take this one back out and fold this handle in. Oh, wrong way. Got that in the wrong way. Fold that handle back in. Like that. And we can come to the back over here, and the sword, of course, can fit here on the back. Now, some people have said, whoa, but now you're kind of in the way of everything. Not really, because this whole piece back here is able to, if I can do it, is able to lift off. I think that's so cool. That whole piece can lift off, and then when you put the sword in, like the sword can get up and out of the way of his arms and his legs and his shoulders, which I think is really cool. As well, he can, with this sword, he can put it in that hand, but he can actually hold it with both hands and like dual wield his huge battle sword. I think that's so cool. So taking that back out of it, and we'll just lay that there. So, let's get to some of the grades for this guy, shall we? Blurr was a 7 for paint, this guy's a 9. I said that the transformation for Blurr was about an 8.5. I say the same thing here, it's about an 8.5. Is it perfect? No. Are there a couple of things that, you know, could be done better? Yes, like people will and have broken those ankles. It's easy to do. I haven't done it with either mold, but I can certainly understand how it happens easy enough. Some people have had issues with having the doors in. Now that's a matter of having like the shoulders that become the hood aligned with the back, or the legs that become the back. And if they're not perfectly aligned, you're not going to be able to tab things in. So I'm going to say still at 8.5. What about the articulation? Well, the articulation we have a head that can go, I think it can go, yeah, it can go left and right and look up and down. I think it can go left and right and look up and down. Hold on. It can wiggle left and right, and it does look up and down, not so much down. The arms can go all the way around. Ooh, I think, but like the shoulder pad here does kind of get in the way. It can go way out, but you're going to want to angle it behind his head. We have like a bicep swivel. We have over 90 degrees. We have wrists that can like rotate and move in and out and all of that good stuff. So like because of the ball joint, I mean you can have the sword in his hand. It's going to look weird, but you can have the sword in his hand thrusting it forward, right? So he can do that. It looks funny, but he can do it. These sheaths on his hips, they are able to move. Does he have a waist? Don't think he has a waist. No waist from what I can tell. Forward, back, thigh swivel, about 90 degrees at the knee, and the toe can move back and forth, but like it doesn't look real good doing so. He is, however, super stable for standing. So again, not perfect. There are things here that could still be improved upon. He can score some excellent, amazing dynamic poses, but he doesn't have a waist. The shoulders do kind of knock into things sometimes. So I'm going to have to overall agree with what I said before, that his articulation is about a 7.5. I'm in a good mood, maybe an 8. So at the end of the day, here's what we can say. Blurr had an overall score of an 8 because he had a 7, a 7.5, and an 8.5. Drift, on the other hand, had a 9, a 7.5, and an 8.5. His overall score is going to be higher than 8. His overall score is going to be more like an 8.75. Drift is definitely the superior use of this mold, but I think that's largely only because Blurr has a more popularized animation model. In comparison to another Drift, that being the Age of Extinction, or just the movie one in general, I think the Generations one obliterates it. The movie Drift, I mean, it's good, it's fine, it's about an 8. The transformation is not that much fun, and I know it was like redone with in certain ways for the last night, but that's still kind of my take on it. I still think that if you are a Drift fan, though the perhaps most popularized look for the guy is probably his movie version, I think that just for stature on a shelf, just for cool look, and really just for the best overall representation of the character, the Generations one, even to this day, still takes the cake. And here we are once again, and here he is. I love the detailing on the guy. I like the mold. Some people might be concerned about the translucent plastic. I've never had issues with it myself, though I have heard people having issues with it. In fact, I've heard of people having issues with it with this version of the mold. When I picked this guy up a few years ago, I was so disappointed that that door was missing. I could live without the swords. It would have been nice, but I would have lived without it. But the door missing kind of ruined things. So I'm so glad now that he's finally complete. This is definitely going to stand in my personal collection as my version of Drift. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I like the guy. Is he perfect? No, but he's extremely strong and comes from a time when, you know, the engineering, the conversion, and the articulation were always impressive. And he had a little bit of heft too. Let me know what you think about this Drift. Do you like him? Do you not like him? Do you think that he needs an update? Who knows what, what can happen in the future. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, don't forget there's a donate link in the description. You can check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us, and don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, man, you do make a difference. And I look forward, man, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here, inside the videos.